the scariest tornadoes ever caught on camera. Welcome to Discovery Fact. Just imagine for a moment a massive tornado tearing across the landscape, sweeping away everything in its path with unimaginable force. How terrifying and devastating would that be? The world's most frightening and destructive tornadoes are not only awe-inspiring natural phenomena, but also tragic disasters that have left countless lives forever changed. From powerful tropical storms that devastate coastal communities to violent rotating tornadoes capable of leveling entire towns, these events remind us of the overwhelming and unmatched power of nature. In today's video, we invite you to join us as we explore haunting stories and catastrophic tornadoes that have written some of the darkest chapters in human history. Get ready to witness just how terrifying and destructive these storms can truly be. Devastating tornado sweeps through Guangzhou, China. At approximately 3 p.m. on April 27, 2024, Baiyun District in Guangzhou, China, was struck by a powerful tornado with wind gusts reaching up to 46 miles per hour. The tornado occurred about 1.7 miles from the Liangtian village weather station, creating a terrifying scene for local residents. The disaster claimed at least 5 lives and left 33 others injured. Photos and videos captured at the scene showed the sky turning as dark as night, even though it was the middle of the day. The tornado caused extensive damage, with numerous vehicles destroyed and trees completely uprooted. These dramatic images quickly spread across social media, leaving many people shocked and frightened by the sheer power of this weather phenomenon. Footage from the area revealed a massive tornado funnel sweeping through the region, lifting debris and various objects high into the air. The powerful winds caused significant damage to local infrastructure. One of the most serious consequences was the impact on electrical facilities, several of which reportedly exploded under the force of the storm. The sight of power stations exploding, accompanied by fire and thick smoke, made the situation even more alarming. These explosions not only caused additional destruction, but also increased the risk of widespread power outages, affecting the region's electricity supply system. The devastation caused by the tornado prompted local authorities to respond quickly. Rescue teams and emergency personnel were deployed to assist affected residents and carry out recovery operations. At the same time, investigations and damage assessments were conducted to determine the full extent of the disaster and to develop plans for reconstruction and recovery. The tornado in Baiyun serves not only as a stark example of the destructive power of extreme weather, but also as a reminder of the importance of emergency preparedness and response. As the community and local authorities work to restore normalcy, preventive measures and future disaster response strategies will be more important than ever in reducing the impact of similar natural events. The Tupelo Tornado of 1936. On April 5, 1936, the city of Tupelo, Mississippi, faced a devastating natural disaster. A violent tornado driven by extremely powerful winds struck the city, killing at least 216 people and causing more than $3 million in property damage, an enormous sum at the time. The tornado not only destroyed homes and critical infrastructure, but also severely damaged the city's water reservoir and hospital. The destruction caused by the tornado led to a major medical crisis. Faced with a large number of injured victims and a shortage of medical facilities, local authorities were forced to establish temporary hospitals. During this emergency, transporting the injured to hospitals in neighboring cities and towns became both necessary and urgent. Trains and other forms of transportation were mobilized to move victims out of the disaster zone, while temporary medical centers were set up to provide essential care. The following day, on April 6, 1936, another tornado struck the city of Gainesville, Georgia. This tornado was part of the same storm system that had caused the catastrophe in Tupelo. It hit the city with tremendous force, killing 203 people and leaving widespread destruction in its wake. As if that were not enough, just minutes after the tornado tore through Gainesville's business district, a massive fire broke out and rapidly spread across the area. The flames consumed numerous buildings and businesses, including a garment factory where 60 employees lost their lives. The combination of the tornado and the fire made the disaster even more devastating, creating additional challenges for rescue and recovery efforts. These tragic events not only demonstrate the destructive power of extreme weather, but also highlight the importance of disaster preparedness and emergency response. In both cases, Local communities and authorities had to quickly mobilize resources and organize relief operations to deal with the aftermath of these tornadoes, helping to reduce further losses and provide essential support to the victims. When Mother Nature unleashes her fury, the results can be truly haunting and terrifying. It's hard not to be amazed and frightened by the immense power of these storms, isn't it? The Tri-State Tornado, the most haunting tornado disaster in American history. The United States is one of the countries most frequently affected by tornadoes, and throughout its history, it has suffered devastating consequences from these violent storms. Among the most haunting disasters was the deadliest tornado the nation has ever experienced, the infamous Tri-State Tornado. This catastrophic tornado struck the states of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana in 1925. According to the U.S. National Weather Service, at least 695 people were killed, more than 2,000 were injured, and approximately 15,000 homes were destroyed after the tornado swept across the three states for more than 3.5 hours. The Tri-State Tornado occurred on March 18, 1925. At times, it reached a width of approximately 1 mile and produced wind speeds exceeding 300 miles per hour, making it an F5 tornado, the highest rating on the Fujita scale used by the National Weather Service. The tornado drew particular attention because it traveled at speeds ranging from 59 to 73 miles per hour for more than 3.5 hours, leaving behind a path of destruction stretching over 217 miles. In just 40 minutes, it devastated 5 towns and killed 541 people in Illinois. It then swept through Murfreesboro, Illinois, destroying 1,200 buildings and claiming 234 lives. In the town of Gorham, virtually every building was either destroyed or severely damaged. In total, about 15,000 homes were destroyed during the Tri-State Tornado disaster. Tornado outbreaks are typically produced by multiple supercell thunderstorms, powerful rotating storms characterized by persistent updrafts and severe lightning activity. Each supercell can generate one or more tornadoes. Along a tornado's path of destruction, there are usually breaks where one supercell and its tornado dissipate before another supercell develops and produces a new tornado. As a result, most tornadoes last only a few minutes and typically travel just 3 to 4 miles before fading away. However, the U.S. Weather Bureau, the predecessor of today's National Weather Service, carefully surveyed the damage path of the Tri-State Tornado and concluded that it appeared to have remained continuously active without any breaks or pauses. As a result, it is believed to have been a single tornado that traveled more than 217 miles across the region. The National Weather Service has described the Tri-State Tornado as an extraordinarily rare event that may occur only once every several hundred years. Due to its immense size, witnesses often described it as a rolling fog bank or a massive cloud moving along the ground. Unlike most tornadoes, its unusual appearance caused many people to underestimate the danger, preventing them from recognizing the threat until it was far too late. This devastating tornado occurred at a time when the U.S. Weather Bureau did not issue severe weather warnings. In fact, the agency had a policy of avoiding the use of the word tornado in weather forecasts to prevent public panic. The official forecast issued on March 18, 1925, simply called for rain and strong winds. As a result, no one anticipated or prepared for the tornado that struck later that afternoon, leading to tragic consequences and immense loss of life. The devastating tornado outbreak in the United States in 2023. The world has witnessed countless tornadoes, many of which have left behind catastrophic destruction. One of the most recent occurred in the United States in late March of this year, nearly wiping an entire town off the map and leaving behind nothing but rubble, devastation, and the heartbreaking cries of people desperately searching for missing loved ones. A series of devastating natural disasters has struck the United States over the years, becoming haunting memories for many. These tragedies often bring back memories of the deadliest tornado in American history, a tornado that devastated 5 towns, killed 541 people in just 40 minutes, and continued its path of destruction, ultimately claiming nearly 700 lives. More than 2,000 people were injured, and 15,000 homes were destroyed in just over 3 hours. On the evening of March 24th, 2023, a powerful tornado outbreak killed at least 23 people in Mississippi, left 4 others missing, injured dozens more, destroyed numerous buildings, and left a trail of devastation across a rural community. At the time, authorities warned that the death toll could rise further. The town of Rolling Fork, located in western Mississippi and home to approximately 1,900 residents, about 1/5 of whom live below the federal poverty line, was among the hardest hit areas. Homes, trees, vehicles, and personal belongings were reduced to piles of debris and wreckage. At least 12 residents of the town were confirmed dead. Rolling Fork Mayor Eldridge Walker stated that the town had essentially been wiped out by the tornado. According to Nicholas Price, a meteorologist with the U.S. National Weather Service (NWS) office in Jackson, Mississippi, the tornado carved a path of destruction approximately 170 miles long. The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency announced that local and state search and rescue teams had been deployed to assist those affected by the tornado. Rescue efforts began after a confirmed tornado struck the city of Silver City and the town of Rolling Fork, which one resident later described as having been completely destroyed. Video footage captured by cameras showed homes flattened to the ground with debris scattered across streets and neighborhoods. On March 26th, the National Weather Service continued to issue urgent warnings telling residents to protect your life, take shelter immediately. Over the following days, multiple tornadoes swept across several areas, not only in Mississippi but also in neighboring Alabama. The outbreaks pushed the death toll higher, injured dozens of people, leveled hundreds of buildings, and forced hundreds of residents to evacuate. The sheer scale and intensity of these tornadoes caused enormous damage and were considered highly unusual even by American standards. The disaster was so severe that U.S. President Joe Biden declared a state of emergency in Mississippi and ordered federal assistance to support the state government, tribal communities, and local authorities in carrying out recovery and disaster relief efforts in the affected areas. According to experts, tornadoes in Mississippi are relatively common and typically occur during February, March, and April each year. However, storms of this magnitude are far less common, making this particular tornado outbreak an exceptionally rare and devastating event. Massive tornado strikes a busy highway in Canada. On April 27, 2024, a massive tornado struck along a busy highway in Canada, creating a terrifying scene for residents and motorists traveling through the area. The affected highway was located near Three Hills, Alberta, where vehicles ranging from passenger cars to large commercial trucks regularly travel back and forth. The tornado, described as a powerful funnel cloud, carved a wide path of destruction along the highway. With tremendous force, it picked up debris and caused severe damage to numerous vehicles traveling through the area. Footage from the scene showed overturned semi-trucks, heavily damaged cars, and debris scattered across the roadway. However, there was one piece of good news amid the disaster. No one was injured or killed. According to local reports, although the tornado caused significant property damage and left many drivers frightened, fortunately, there were no reports of casualties. This may have been partly because the tornado occurred during a period when traffic volume was relatively low, reducing the risk of serious accidents. The tornado caused extensive damage to property along the highway, including infrastructure such as road signs and traffic signals, as well as personal belongings and vehicles. Emergency responders quickly arrived at the scene to assess the situation, ensure that no one was trapped, and carry out rescue and cleanup operations. In addition, rescue crews and technical teams were deployed to deal with the aftermath and restore traffic flow along the highway. Emergency measures included repairing damaged infrastructure, clearing debris from the roadway, and establishing temporary traffic routes to ensure the safety of motorists traveling through the affected area. Massive tornado strikes China. At approximately 2:30 p.m. local time on July 5, 2024, Dongming County in Shandong Province, China, was struck by a massive gray tornado, creating a terrifying scene and causing severe damage throughout the area. The tornado lifted numerous objects into the air and caused extensive property damage, resulting in 1 fatality and 79 injuries of varying severity. Those who were seriously injured were taken to hospitals for treatment, while rescue and relief operations were carried out with great urgency. The tornado not only caused immediate destruction but also created significant challenges for recovery and cleanup efforts in the affected areas. Chinese media released footage showing the enormous gray tornado sweeping debris high into the sky while producing a frightening roaring sound. Videos shared on the social media platform Weibo also showed streets littered with pieces of wood and stones. Store signs were torn away by the powerful winds, vehicle windows were shattered, and numerous trees were uprooted, making the situation even worse. Amid increasingly severe weather conditions across China, this tornado serves as a clear example of the growing frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. In recent months, the country has faced heavy rainfall that triggered deadly flooding, as well as intense heat waves, highlighting the increasingly serious impacts of climate change. As the world's largest emitter of greenhouse gases, China has contributed to the broader challenge of global climate change. Rising greenhouse gas emissions have been linked to an increase in extreme weather events, making them more frequent and more intense. The tornado in Dongming is part of a larger picture of the challenges the country faces in responding to the impacts of climate change. While authorities continue their efforts to recover from the disaster and assist affected residents, the event underscores the need for effective preparedness and response measures to reduce the damage caused by increasingly frequent extreme natural phenomena. The Daulatpur Saturia tornado of 1989. On May 12, 1989, a devastating natural disaster struck Bangladesh, leaving a deep and painful mark on the history of natural catastrophes. The Daulatpur Saturia tornado, with its tremendous destructive power, became one of the deadliest tornadoes ever recorded in the world. The disaster claimed the lives of approximately 1,300 people and forever changed the lives of tens of thousands of others across the region. The tornado swept through impoverished residential areas in the Dhaka region, located about 50 miles from the city center. These communities consisted largely of slum settlements where homes were often built from temporary and fragile materials that could not withstand powerful winds. As a result, the tornado's destructive force became even more devastating, as the poorly constructed homes were unable to survive the fury of the storm. The death toll rose dramatically, reflecting the vulnerability of local infrastructure and the difficult living conditions faced by many residents. The destruction extended far beyond the loss of life. The Daulatpur Saturia tornado left approximately 80,000 people homeless, forcing them to seek temporary shelter under already extremely difficult circumstances. More than 20 villages were completely flattened, leaving behind little more than rubble and debris. These figures represent not only material losses, but also the immense emotional and social hardships endured by the affected communities. In addition, around 12,000 people were injured, a staggering number that highlights the severity of the disaster. Although Bangladesh's emergency response and medical services worked tirelessly to assist those affected, they faced enormous challenges in providing aid and treatment to such a large number of victims. The country's limited healthcare infrastructure further complicated the situation and intensified the suffering of those who were injured. It can be said that the Daulatpur Saturia tornado was not merely a natural disaster. It was also a painful lesson about the need to improve living conditions and build resilient infrastructure for vulnerable communities. The tragedy underscored the importance of disaster preparedness and emergency response, particularly in regions most susceptible to extreme weather events. This catastrophic tornado also highlighted the urgent need to raise public awareness and strengthen disaster response capabilities in order to reduce future losses and better protect those most at risk. The massive cyclone that struck Madagascar in 2011. On March 3, 2011, a powerful tropical cyclone made landfall in northern Madagascar, causing a major disaster that left at least 34 people dead or missing and injured hundreds more. The cyclone not only brought tremendous human suffering, but also caused severe damage to property and agriculture. Approximately 77,000 people were forced to evacuate, while 200,000 others lost their homes. Large areas of rice fields that were close to harvest were either destroyed or submerged by floodwaters. The devastation caused by the storm not only demonstrated the immense power of nature, but also left deep emotional scars on survivors and affected communities. Disasters like this have long been among the most terrifying events in the history of natural catastrophes, highlighting the critical importance of preparedness and timely response when facing extreme weather events and natural disasters. Hundreds of tornadoes strike the United States in just a few days. Throughout its history, the United States has endured a long series of extreme weather events. One might think that after years of devastation caused by natural disasters, the country would finally catch a break. However, in April 2024, History repeated itself once again as the United States faced more than 100 storms and tornadoes that swept across multiple regions, causing severe damage in the states of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa. According to the National Weather Service, as many as 78 tornadoes were reported on April 26, 2024, primarily in Nebraska and Iowa. Just 2 days later, approximately 35 additional tornadoes tore through North Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, creating an unprecedented wave of destruction. These tornadoes resulted in at least 4 fatalities, including 1 child, and injured several others, particularly in Oklahoma. The powerful storms ripped through communities, destroyed homes, and caused widespread power outages. Property damage was extensive, with numerous houses completely demolished, vehicles overturned, fences flattened, and trees uprooted, leaving behind scenes of devastation. Videos and photographs from the affected areas showed that Nebraska, Iowa, and Oklahoma were among the hardest hit regions. In Nebraska, resident Stacy Rowe lost the home she described as her forever home less than 2 years after moving in. She explained that she and her family were at the airport picking up a friend when the tornado struck. Upon returning, they found their home completely destroyed. Witnessing the devastation firsthand left her feeling absolutely terrified. In addition to the tornadoes, the storms brought as much as 7 inches of rainfall within just a few hours, increasing the risk of flash flooding and large hail. Meteorologists at the time warned that these extreme weather threats could continue to impact the region in the days ahead, potentially causing further damage and hardship for residents. As a result, officials urged people to remain extremely vigilant and prioritize their personal safety in order to minimize the risks and losses caused by these powerful natural disasters. Dear friends, tornadoes are among nature's most terrifying and unforgiving challenges. They serve as painful reminders of how powerless humanity can be in the face of such overwhelming forces. From communities that have been completely devastated to those forced to rebuild their lives from the ground up, each story highlights the importance of preparedness, resilience, and disaster prevention. As we look back on these tragic events, we not only witness the horror and destruction they leave behind, but also the remarkable strength and determination of people as they struggle to overcome nature's fury. What are your thoughts on the incredible power that nature can unleash? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give Discovery Fact a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our future discoveries and fascinating stories. For now, thank you for watching, goodbye, and we'll see you in the next video.